Welcome to Isaac's Knives and Knowledge. We're doing a review of the world famous cold steel SRK and SK5 steel. Now, as you can see, it just sliced through some paper pretty clean and with ease. So it's a sharp knife. Now, keep that in mind till the end of the video. Now, since we're slicing paper, it's gone through paracord, nice and thin too. And moving on to some 3/8 of an inch thick rope, goes through relatively easily. Fantastic, slicing all the way to the tip. We got Cold Steel's Secure X sheath, which locks it in nice and tight and rides well on the belt. Right now, we're putting this knife to a chop test here. This is a thick piece of wood vine, definitely a good 3 inches thick, I would say. Now, the Cold Steel SRK isn't really made for chopping. It's a mid-size survival knife. We have a 6-inch blade and it weighs 8.2 ounces. A dedicated chopper, you want to be a bit bigger than that. But if you keep on watching here, you'll see that we do get the job done. Now, this chopping is not edited or sped up in any way. I just want you to see the full capability of the SRK for this task. The handle is made of Crayex, which is a Kraton rubberized material, and it is checkered for a fantastic grip. I love knife handles with rubber grip. There's nothing better. If you want a secure grip, that is. Now, the blade thickness on this is 5 millimeters or 3/16 of an inch thick for those of us in the United States. The overall length of the blade is 10 3/4 of an inch long. I already said before the weight is 8.2 ounces, which is not bad at all. For a knife this size, I have knives smaller than that weigh more than that. So 8.2 ounces here, we're doing pretty darn good. It is flat ground or saber ground, as many would refer to this knife. Older versions of this had a hollow grind. And this knife has been in Cold Steel's catalog for many, many years and has been made in different steels throughout its lifetime. A long time back, it was made in the USA out of what they called carbon V steel, which is basically 1095 Crovan that you would see coming out of a shop like K-Bar. So right here, we're just doing some fine tasks on this stick. What you're going to see is making like a V-notch or 7-notch. You know, if you would be making some sort of tent stake, pot hanger, figure 4, deadfall type of trap. And we're just seeing if, you know, a knife this size can handle that type of carving. Now, this knife is currently manufactured in Taiwan, which I have had plenty of success knives being made out of Taiwan. And this SK5 steel is pretty darn nice. According to the Cold Steel website, SK5 high carbon steel has good all-around toughness and excellent edge holding capabilities, as well as excellent abrasion resistance, and it has stood the test of time. Now, we call it the Cold Steel SRK knife. But you might ask yourself, well, what in the heck is an SRK? Well, it stands for Survival Rescue Knife. So the real purpose of this knife is written right into the name. This is meant to be a survival knife and used in rescue operations. You know, say you're some search and rescue team member who, you know, lost people rely on, or people rely on in emergencies. If you are a woodsman who wants a tough knife and doesn't want to shell out a ton of money, that, you know, you want a knife you can depend on in case you're lost and need a tough knife to process firewood, build shelters with, and build traps with, whatever you want to do. If you're stuck in a bad situation, like a survival situation in the wilderness, this knife is something that you can depend on. Now, is this the ultimate indestructible knife? No, of course not. Everything will have its breaking point, but this knife currently sells on Amazon for $40. $37 to $42 is what I'm seeing the price at on Amazon the day of this recording, January 29th, 2025. That is an incredible deal for a knife of this quality. Now, Cold Steel offers other steel options in this knife. You can get this in their VG10 Sanmai steel, which VG10 is pretty good steel for edge retention, but doesn't have the ultimate toughness factor. So they have the core as VG10, but they layer it with a softer stainless steel to give it more toughness and impact resistance. They also, and that Sanmai is currently around $70 to $80 on Amazon. And you can also get this knife in 3V steel, which in my opinion is about the best steel on the market for this type of knife. And those will run between $100 and $110. So even if you want to go over the $100 mark, I think you're getting an absolute steal with the quality of knife and the SRK from the Cold Steel company. You cannot get anything better in this price point. Now, here we go, splitting wood. Get this thick log down to some more manageable pieces for kindling a fire and keeping that going. Say you're using this is your survival knife. You chopped that tree that we did earlier, and now you're splitting it into smaller pieces to get that all-important life-saving fire. And this knife just gets it done. Splits with ease, no problem at all. Now, we mentioned that all-important fire. Can you get it started? Here we are with a piece of fat wood, just shaving that up into small pieces. Now, personally, I do carry something like this to be my main source of tinder. I carry it on my person. So if I was in a survival situation, I would be able to do this to start my fire. I recommend you do the same if you venture into the outdoors. Now, you don't have to carry a huge piece like this. I don't have a huge piece of fat wood like that in my pocket. Smaller sizes. And we're seeing that edge is shaving it up here into fine shavings to get some ignition, and almost lost it in the wind there. Now, let's grab our ferro rod. Can the SRK get sparks off this thing? There it is, guys. Fire burning with the spine of the SRK striking the ferro rod. All right, remember that paper cutting at the beginning? Well, we're back. So let's see how the edge held up after that chopping and batoning and carving and all that we did. And it still cuts paper pretty darn clean. It drags a little bit, but really not much at all. I'd say it holds an edge pretty good. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video on this fantastic knife, the Cold Steel SRK. Now, you saw at the beginning, it sliced that paper, and at the end there, it sliced that paper again. Not quite as clean because we did do a little bit of cutting. So what I'm going to do is just take this honing steel and go across that on both sides a few times and I feel like we'll get that edge back. Plus I got leather right there in front of me. I don't think I have to take that to the sharpening stone at all, and we're really back in business on this edge. And I would say that's pretty decent edge holding for, you know, chopping through that relatively thick, I guess, that woody vine is what that was. That I had actually chopped the top portion years ago in another review. So beautiful. I would say this SK5 holds a pretty darn good edge for that chopping. You know, the carving, the batoning, you know, you saw it live here, folks. Very pleased with the performance of the Cold Steel SRK, and I think it really is the best bang for your buck that you can get. All right, take it easy. We'll see you on the next video.